Hey there, safecrackers. Get your combinations ready because it is time for the comic vault! Vault full of comics that you can read through your teeth. That didn't make sense. Thanks for coming to the Comic Vault, guys. Because you guys had to go so far to see it, all the way to your computer. Anyway, today on the Comic Vault we have the 4-issue mini of the Phantom. Yep, the 4-issue mini that came out. See if I remember. It is 88? Yep, 88 indeed. So, the 4-issue mini of the Comic Vault of the Phantom by Peter David and Joe Orlando. Now, I had the name of a certain fella written down who was nice enough to send this to us. I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but I do appreciate you sending it to us. Zeodogas, or maybe it's Z Dugas. Maybe the zeros in his name are just spacers. I'm not sure, but thank you, sir, for sending it to us. We appreciate it, and I enjoyed reading it. The Phantom is a character who I've always wanted to see like a serious take on the character. I've always wanted to see somebody make that particular character less. I want to bring the storytelling more towards a modern sensibility. Of course, this is from '88, so it'll be a different modern sensibility from that time period than it would be from now. Incidentally, it's not modern anymore. But I never really have a problem, considering that this is the, I like the Phantom, and this is the trend with the Phantom. Every time somebody tells a Phantom story, they're trying to emulate a particular style of storytelling. It's all about high adventure. I'll tell you this, I would much rather see a Phantom period piece. I would much rather see the Phantom fighting pirates than I would see the Phantom fighting things that are in lieu of pirates in the modern day. Now, there is a little bit of a story juggle within these Phantom books. Well, let me say this real quick. The opening seems kind of strange. It makes me question, like, why is this guy writing this story from a perspective? Why is one Phantom writing the story for another perspective of another Phantom? It's so strange to me how that starts out. And I don't necessarily need the origin story of the Phantom again, as long as you tell me. They cover it several times. Each issue they say he is the ghost who walks, but it's not that he's a walking ghost, it's the son takes over for the father. The father dies, the son becomes the Phantom, and it just keeps happening. One dies, the next takes over. So they have generations and generations of Phantoms from this family line, Phantomly line. But I enjoy. There's not a lot to it, and I tell you this: I resist the modern day storyline because it's not quite as interesting as what's going on in the past. Now, how they juggle these stories? The modern Phantom has a nephew who sneaks into the Phantom's lair, and he starts reading from the tome of all the Phantom stories, all of the journal entries from each Phantom, each generation before, and he says, "Oh, Uncle Kit would be so angry if he knew I was doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway." And so he reads this story, and there are certain parallels between this story and the modern story line. In the modern story, he's fighting the same family line of pirates that he fought in the generational tome, the story that the kid's reading. And what's going on in modern day is only interesting because of what happened in the past. And what happened in the past is actually interesting. So what's going on in the modern day is largely dull. It's the Phantom walking around looking for trouble, essentially. He needs to go right or wrong, so he goes to, I believe it's New York, I forget, either way, I believe he goes to America, and he's fighting against chessmen, who is now, the Chessman family line started as pirates, and now they've become these big corrupt businessmen, and it's really, really dull. But the story that's taking place in the past is extremely interesting. The story that takes place in the past, the Phantom is tortured. He's sold into slavery. He's hunting these people down. He's battling with morals and is it right to kill to protect? Is it right to kill to avenge people? Is it right to kill in order to protect the myth of the Phantom? What or how far should the Phantom go? It's not even how far should a person go. It's how far should the Phantom go? How necessary is the Phantom that you can okay, or that you can allow for certain moral leeway? And I find that interesting. And I like the idea that a hero might be more important than the life of a or that a hero's legacy might be more important than the life of a criminal. I think that's really interesting. That, in fact, I always resist the hero does not kill. The hero, the Phantom is a guy that walks around with a couple of guns or a sword or something. I find it strange that the hero would have a strict no-killing rule, especially when they're pirates. I find that interesting. I feel like Zorro has an even better reason not to kill, because Zorro is fighting against the government. He's fighting against the establishment, and if he's out there killing, then he's going to get a lot of attention really fast. But the Phantom is a guy that lives in the jungle, and he's fighting against pirates who rape and pillage and do really, really awful things to people. It makes sense to me that the Phantom would want to kill people, but no, he has to be family friendly, so he shoots guns out of people's hands, and that's largely what he does. He doesn't actually hurt anybody, except for he hits people and leaves those ring impressions in their faces, which looks extremely painful, but it's not exactly killing. I can understand in this instance why, or in the instance of the modern Phantom, why he wouldn't charge into the U.S. and then just kill a businessman. That is terrible for international relations. But especially if the Phantom becomes a household name, it's interesting to me that in the modern times, there's even hitmen who have heard of the Phantom, and I find that to be strange. Here's this American guy who seems to be very integrated into the American underworld, and he's heard of the Phantom, this guy who lives in the jungle. It's funny to me. Not necessarily. Maybe that's a testament to that particular hitman's worldliness, and maybe the fact that the modern day chessman's knowledge of the Phantom is a testament to his worldliness. Of course, the modern day chessman is rich, and I really enjoyed the past storyline, the one that the kid reads, and I didn't really care for the new one. There wasn't enough happening. There were certain parallels between the two stories, so much so that David even decided that it was important to write at the end. The kid says, "Wow, that was a really interesting story. I bet Uncle Kit's never had a story like, or never had an adventure like that." Well, of course he had an adventure similar to it within the story, so we're supposed to, as the readers, go, "Oh, you're so funny, you don't know." But I find that I wish that the modern day story had more danger, had more things to it, as did the past storyline, but alas, they did not. So I would say that this is worth reading. It's really a pretty quick read. It's only 4 issues, and there are more issues that follow, but they start at 1, and it's a different storyline. So I think it's a 13-issue series that this gentleman sent to us. So thank you very much. We appreciate you sending them to us, and thank you guys for watching the Comic Vault. What's Comic Vault? I think that's a dog that pulls a sled in some animated movie. Anyway, if you'd like to donate things to the Comic Vault, feel free to send us whatever you like, comics, movies, otherwise, and let us know if you'd like us to review them, because that's entirely possible. So, send things to Geekvolution, P.O. Box 14183, Lenexa, Kansas 66285. I'm Vince. This is the Comic Vault. Thanks for watching Geekvolution. We'll catch you next time.